Happy Textile Tuesday, everyone. I'm at the Allentown Art Museum, and this month we're taking a slightly different direction. We're looking at some art from the current exhibition, Washi Transformed, which looks at contemporary art by Japanese artists using traditional Japanese washi paper. But some of the artists in this exhibition actually use textile techniques in their work. This Textile Tuesday, we're looking at works by Yuko Kimura, who is a printmaker, but uses a lot of these techniques in her work. So this print right here, titled Raindrops from 2020, is really interesting because she's incorporated not only paper, but also pieces of cloth given to her by her grandmother. And you can see that she's stitched these pieces together, creating all sorts of textures between the paper and the cloth and the stitching. She's used indigo colored ink to create the effect of indigo dye, traditionally used in Japanese textiles. And so this work really echoes the idea of boro textiles, which are a traditional type of Japanese textile and technique focus on mending, especially for clothing. And so boro means tattered or repaired. And I have an example here. This is a kimono in the collection of the Victoria and Albert Museum. And it's been repaired using boro techniques. And you can see there are so many lines of stitching and patches and repairs. It's like an entirely new fabric is created, the amount of labor and attention applied to mending this garment. And so this is something that traditionally in Japan, these sorts of repaired textiles were used by peasants and fishermen. Sometimes they were even passed down in families and accumulated all of these layers of wear and of handwork. And so Kimura, with her printmaking, she's really interested in this idea of retrieving historic materials and kind of continuing this tradition of finding beauty in imperfection and age. This print, which is titled Edo Sky, is similar to Raindrops in retrieving these antique materials. She's combined pages from an astronomy manual, and she's used sashiko stitching, which is the term for these kind of rows of repeated embroidery or stitching. Sashiko is used both for decorative effect in Japanese textiles, but also for mending for textiles like boro. And so, it really adds this layer of history and handwork on top of these book pages. You can see also here that there are some wormholes in the print, the paper that she's using. And this is common in Japanese prints and historic materials, that you end up with these what are called mushikui in Japanese, or insect nibbles. And so in her art, she's actually really interested in using historic documents as part of her work that show those signs of age and have that, organic, unexpected little pathways nibbled by insects. And so finally, one more print by Kimura that's using Japanese textile techniques. This print is titled Shihwashiwa, or Wrinkle Wrinkle, and it uses traditional shibori dyeing techniques, which, if you tuned in for last month's Textile Tuesday, you'll remember we talked a little bit about shibori being a traditional Japanese form of tie dyeing, basically. And so for this particular work, she used a pleating technique, folding up the paper, these pages, again, from antique sources, and then wrapped them around a pole before dyeing them. And in shibori, this technique is called arashi, which means rainstorm, and creates these kind of diagonal rivulets you can sort of see in this texture on the page here. And I really like, that effect with these landscape images on the pages she's used in this work. And one other fun kind of parallel with that, thinking about the idea of a storm, is that the work exactly opposite Shihwashiwa is Ayomi Yoshida's Blessed Rain, which is an installation that is thinking about the idea of rain in Japanese culture historically, and also the meanings of rain today with climate change and rain-based disasters occurring more regularly. So together these works are, kind of in dialogue in a way, when you think about the arashi shibori technique with the rainstorm name. And I also wanted to let you know that we have several events related to washi coming up. On November 30th, we're going to be presenting a program in collaboration with Lehigh Valley Ja, the Japanese cultural organization in this region, which will talk about washi as well as some of the other Japanese art on view at the Allentown Art Museum and beyond. And on December 4th and 5th, we're having a washi weekend at the museum. So you can come in for workshops to make your own art, as well as a tour of the washi exhibition. We encourage you to join us for these upcoming programs. Come see Washi, which is on view through January 2nd, and leave us any questions in the comments below.